Now, once upon a time in professional wrestling, it used to matter what the fans thought.
For example, all you parents out there with kids, when your kids misbehave, you give the New Day a call. The New Day comes over to your house, and we will fight your children.
Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of wrestling sucks, but when it's good, it's fucking great. Wrestling is melodrama. Wrestling is mythology. Wrestling is action. Wrestling is comic books. The only thing wrestling isn't is wrestling.
Who wants to take back professional wrestling?
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 110. I am one of your hosts of... hold on, I'm going to start that over because I just totally fucked that up. Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 110. I'm one half of your host. God damn it. Floyd, what's wrong with me? I can't do
I don't know, man. You need Viagra? You have health issues?
That maybe. I
mess up on my own catchphrase almost every week, so I completely understand.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 110. I'm one half of your host, Silky Dave Brown, joined with, as always, by your Floyd and Savior, Floyd Johnson Jr. How you doing this morning?
I am doing well. I got to this morning, because I didn't watch it last night because I was asleep. I watched a stream of the Mayweather-McGregor fight, and so that's pretty good. And we had a very big, shocking announcement in wrestling this week, so we're going to discuss that. But other than that, I'm doing really well.
Good. So what do you think, real quick, of the Mayweather, McGregor fight? I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
So I had zero interest in it, and I am of the people that I think Floyd Mayweather is the greatest con man in boxing history. He's great at selling you that their fight is going to be entertaining, and most of the time, if not all the time, the fights aren't entertaining. Last night, whether it be because he has way more skill than the other person or whatever, they actually put on an entertaining fight. McGregor was the aggressor, and he had an unorthodox style that you could tell Floyd Mayweather wasn't really ready for. He didn't know what was coming from. I mean, even his stance, it wasn't a boxer stance. His hands were down. I mean, it was like, I'm going to make you fight me type situation. It was more of an MMA fighter stance. Like, his hands did not stay up. So you couldn't really, judge it based on that.
Interesting. Well, I mean, that makes sense considering he's not a boxer.
Yeah, but I figured, all the camps that he's been to, that, they teach you at least protect yourself, but it was a very unorthodox style. So my points from it is this. It went perfectly. If let's say I was booking this WWE, and, you got somebody from New Japan coming, right? And back in the day, they just do a 60-minute draw. That was the way you would do it. You do a 60-minute draw. No one was better than the other one, but the fans got their dream match, right? Well, in this case, no one, I did not expect McGregor to last very long. So they fought for 10 rounds. McGregor was the aggressor as usual. Floyd Mayweather then wins by stoppage, and McGregor never hits the ground. Right?
Okay.
So you have McGregor looking really tough, like the best boxer in the world could knock me out. The referee stops the fight, and then of course McGregor says you shouldn't have stopped the fight. Floyd Mayweather gets his 50-0. Everybody people that bought the pay-per-view got an entertaining fight. They both made a ton of money. I think Floyd Mayweather said he pulled $300 million last night.
Good God.
McGregor made on the low end $30 million. I think he can make up to $100 million. So they made their money. Everybody was entertained, Like, it was mildly entertaining for me. I am not a boxing fan, though. I'm very clear about that. Boxing is very boring to me. I like if I'm going to like the boxing, I like the tough man competitions where there's very little defense and a lot of just contact. So I don't have the patience for boxing. But if you look at it, it was a win all the way around for the boxing, the UFC, everything, because Mayweather looked great, and Mayweather won. McGregor looked great. He never hit the ground, so he didn't get dominated. And they're both really, really rich.
So did UFC have any presence there? I mean, or anything like that?
Dana White was there. Basically, UFC's thing, it wasn't even cross-promoted. They got a cut of McGregor's side, basically.
Okay.
Like, they own McGregor's rights. So let's say McGregor got whatever McGregor got, the UFC got either that much or more.
Okay, I can see that. So now, how do you think this would have turned out had it been in a UFC ring? You think McGregor would have won?
It wouldn't have lasted. They wouldn't have made it out the first round. Because on a grappling level, I have a friend at work that named Clarence, and he does the grappling. He does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? And he's been doing it for years. And he's considered an average to above average Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu person, right?
Right.
It's not something most people pick up quickly if you haven't done it. If you don't have an amateur wrestling background or something like that, it's not something people pick up quickly. So with Conor McGregor having to me, like I said, I'm not a UFC expert at all. I'm just a person that I watch it regularly. To me, Conor McGregor would close it in, and based on his reach advantage and his weight advantage, he would get Floyd Mayweather on the ground, and just being that much better than Floyd Mayweather, he wouldn't know what to do.
So you said Mayweather, he's 50-0?
50-0.
You think he's going to retire at 50-0?
Oh, he says he's done. He even made the request that young people stop calling him out because he's old and he's done.
I mean, that's a hell of a way to go out. That might be the best record in boxing history.
It is the best record in boxing history. Last night, by going to 50-0, he passed Rocky Marciano's 49-0 record.
Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, so he was 49-0 and retired champion. Now Mayweather's 50-0 and retired champion. He's done. Apparently, he made $300 million, mostly because he's his own promoter. The money team he's his own promoter, so he gets all the money. He doesn't have this silent partner that he has to give his money to.
Well, yeah, but boxing is, and that is, again, that's Mayweather, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Boxing's weird because there used to be, at least I remember when I followed boxing a little bit, was back during the whole Mike Tyson run where he unified the three major heavyweight championships, because there were three, and it doesn't even work like I don't think they're promotions. I don't know how it works, because you can go from one to the other, or at least back in the day you could.
In boxing, you're an independent contractor. You're more a slave to the promoter than the WBC or whatever. The WBC is more of a head that organizes the rules, and they get like a cut. But no boxing organization is like on the level of the UFC or the WWE.
Okay, yeah. So you are truly an independent contractor, not the independent contractor that the WWE says you are, which is a load of bull, and you're really an employee who's getting hosed. But okay, so yeah, I can't help it. Anytime I hear the name Rocky Marciano, it takes me back to Coming to America, and that amazing scene. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you. Who's next? Love that. That's some good stuff right there. So yeah, I will. So I guess final question on this: is it worth taking the time to check out?
I mean, I thought it was. If you like boxing, it was an entertaining fight. But boxing, like I said, is boring to me. I mean, Mayweather did throw a lot of punches. He did not necessarily, and it was very aggressive. I watched it all, and it was just like I was just interested, so I watched it all. Like I said, in my opinion, was it worth $100? No, but some people like boxing.
Man, that's the thing. When they announced that price, I was like, oh, man, these guys are seriously crazy. And I'm sure they got it, and they got it tenfold. But
yeah, it's the event. That's what I figured out yesterday. People didn't care about the fight as much as it was an event. I knew women that I'd never heard show any interest in combat sports at all, boxing, anything. Oh, I gotta watch it. I'm going to watch the fight. I was like this. It was like, who has the fight? Everybody was interested in this fight because it was this big event. It had nothing really to do with boxing.
Yeah, that is true. I had a customer yesterday when I was at work who's like, she says, "So you ready for tonight?" I was like, "What's tonight?" It's like the fight. She got the pay-per-view and a whole bunch of. She was having a big old party at her house.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was more of a social event than it was boxing, and that with any pay-per-view, with anything like that, that's what your goal is. That's what your goal is. Like when most people that go watch the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna say none of them like. I'm not gonna say none of them like football, but a lot of people don't. It's the event that the Super Bowl is.
Yeah, but still, a ton of people, a butt-ton of people in this country like football. It becomes an obsession.
A butt-ton of people like football, and that's great, but I'm telling you, most of the people that watch the Super Bowl, I would say it's probably like 60-40. People that like football versus people that are just going to the event. That's why the number on the Super Bowl is like 5 times any other game. Because, some people only watch one game a year, and it's the Super Bowl.
True. That is very true. Plus, there's the whole commercials.
It's just what you do. And, I'm not, like I said, I don't really like it a lot because, people that don't know about the sport tend to ask questions. But, it's an event. That's what you wanted to do. That's what WrestleMania used to be. Back in the day, it was like I had friends, hey, where's WrestleMania going to be at? Or are you getting WrestleMania so I can come over and watch it? They haven't watched wrestling all year. And that is the whole idea that when people say WWE has fell off a little bit, it's true because what WrestleMania used to be, this big event that everybody watched no matter what, it's not really like that anymore.
No, it's sadly not. It still is. It brings in more people, but it brings in more wrestling fans.
Yeah,
and that's where the diehards come out, and that's so yeah. Speaking of WrestleMania, something happened last Sunday that tries to be the WrestleMania of the summer. I don't know if it succeeds. What do you think?
As a person that was there live in Brooklyn. As far as the build-up and all the people being there, the building sold out. There was a buzz about it. ESPN was there. The Major League Baseball Network was there. It did. Because it was in New York, it got a lot of coverage. But, as far as the show, it falls short. It fell short. It falls short.
And so, okay, so obviously we're talking about SummerSlam. The last few years, there were a couple of SummerSlams that were really good. I know, for example, the one where Cena was basically squashed by Lesnar was actually a really good event. I thought the whole show was actually pretty darn good. And I just remember the last few being kind of good, and then watching this, it sucked because I came off of this super high from TakeOver. TakeOver was incredible. Everything great about pro wrestling was in TakeOver. I watched this, and I swear to God, Floyd, they broke me.
I understand where you're coming from, but I call this, in my opinion, the great steak debate. Because when you go and you have great steak on Saturday, right? On Sunday, if you have the best bologna ever, it's still not going to live up to that steak.
True, but
so that's what happened. NXT put on such an amazing show. It gave you everything you wanted out of a big show. And you had the world title change. You had a big storyline developing for the next year. You had a long-awaited debut. You had everything you wanted. You had great matches, right? If you're a pure wrestling fan, NXT was everything you wanted it to be. SummerSlam is not advertised to the pure wrestling fan, right? So it was going to be very, very hard to live up. Even me and you said on Sunday, we wanted Triple H to go to Vince and say, top that. And Vince would say, no, thank you, because I can't.
He would actually, I suspect what would happen, it would be a conversation more like, you're doing it better. I got to shut this shit down.
Yeah.
So the thing, though, I remember I think it was a Survivor Series a couple years ago. There was a takeover right before it, and it was another big weekend thing. And takeover was so good, I ended up enjoying everything up until about Raw. And at that point, that's when I was like, okay, I'm just kind of done with this. But I don't know. Let's go ahead and talk about this. And then, oh my God, the most embarrassing thing I have ever seen in a WWE ring, as far as what I thought for the wrestlers themselves. The opening match in the pre-show, Miz, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel taking on Jason Jordan and the Hardy Boys to a stadium full of 4 people.
And this is where I got, this is where you'll get the live take and you'll get the angry live take. I am there an hour early. Pre-show starts at 5. I am 99% sure the doors are going to open up at 4:30. That just makes sense, right?
Right.
So everyone can get in and not miss any of the pre-show. Well, much to my chagrin, and looks like The Miz too, because he cut a pretty good promo on it. And I don't know if they did what they were trying to do to set up this promo, but they didn't let us in until 5. They didn't even open the doors and let anyone in until 5. Okay. So it is impossible for you to go in, use the bathroom, because you've been standing out there for an hour. You probably have to use the bathroom, get your food, get your drinks, and sit down. Especially when they start the pre-show match at like 5:30 or 5:20. There was no time for anyone to get in. And when the match was happening, most people were out in the console either trying to get in or getting food, because you didn't give us enough time to get in.
So here's the weird thing about that. This is what, the 3rd year in a row they've run Barclays for SummerSlam?
Yeah.
You would think by now they'd have this stuff worked out. 2, but beyond that, this is something with the pre-show. A pre-show should not be 2 hours long. That's ridiculous. You're asking too much of your fans, especially if you are going to put 3 fucking matches on it, 2 of which are title matches. So if they're going to, and if you are going to do a 2-hour-long pre-show, do not start the matches until the 2nd hour of the pre-show. You should leave the matches until the very end of the pre-show, because you're going to have your yappity bull blah 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 bull crap going on in your panel, which no one gives 2 shits about, except I don't even know if the people sitting there, maybe Sam Roberts cares, because oh my God, I'm on WWE TV and how cool is this, and I have big red hair.
I felt sorry for this kid because he had on his Miz shirt, his Miz everything, and he walked in. When does the Miz wrestle? It's already happened.
Oh my God, yep. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm sorry. All 6 of those guys deserve better than this. Especially the Miz and the Hardys deserve better than to be sent out there to a completely empty room. And at what point did the production folks not call an audible and say, why didn't Vince say, you know what, I'm not sending these guys out here to nobody. Let's continue the yappity bullshit for a while, and let's give the fans time to come in so that these wrestlers don't go out there and wrestle in front of no one. There was no one there. It was so pathetic. I mean, it's one thing. Okay, so think about it this way. How often was TNA or GFW made fun of for those baseball park stadium shows where there was like 4 people and the thing was, huge stadium and there's hardly anyone there? The people were taking pictures and going, look how pathetic this is. I mean, this is what this looked like. It looked like, WWE booked by Dixie Carter or freaking Jeff Jarrett when he had no backing. It looked so rinky-dinky. It looked so half-assed. And yeah, I'm sure the Hardys, having spent so many years in TNA and on the indies, were used to doing shows in front of 40, 50, 70, couple hundred people. So to them, I think they're just like, hey, I'm getting a regular paycheck. What? And they're just out there having fun. But the Miz, man, he's in his prime, and you could tell he looked so pissed. And I really hope he has the gumption to have gone to Vince or Kevin Dunn and chewed their asses out for this.
This is the problem with not watching Raw, sir.
Oh, okay.
It's promo on Raw.
All right, I need to go. Yes, and I did. For those of you out there, this SummerSlam broke me so much. I did not watch Raw. I did not watch any wrestling the rest of the week.
Oh yes, he addressed it on Raw.
Okay, good.
One of the best promos of the year, which it's hard to say because all his promos have been amazing lately. So it was a promo, and he kind of just went off. So we will talk about that in a second.
Okay, great.
So I walked in and I sat down. And as I sat down, The Miz hits the skull-crushing finale on Jason Jordan and gets the pin. So that's how that match ended.
Yep, and hey, I called that one.
You did, and you got credit for it in the club. It's like Dave said exactly how that match was going to end, and you did.
Yeah. We then had Neville challenging Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship. Which Neville won back.
From what I was one of those people, I had my fingers crossed, toes crossed, and all that stuff, and I was praying that they didn't just give the belt back to Neville. I was basically praying for any other result than what happened, personally, because it was just, why give him the belt on Monday just to give him a belt? Take the belt back on Sunday, and you're still not even putting it on the main show.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was, I mean, this was one of the stupidest moves, and apparently it was, at least according to the rumors that I've read, it was a last-minute decision by Vince just to shake things up. Well, what he did was he ruined Neville's excellent title reign in doing this. And he makes Tozawa look like a goof. The better thing, if he was desperate to have them have a match on Raw, why do that? Why get? But they've gotten in this habit of giving away big money matches on Raw, the Raw before the fucking pay-per-view. I don't understand this. But if you're going to have the match, have it a non-title match, have Tozawa win, and so it puts in the doubt. Oh my God, he could beat Neville. But you don't screw up Neville's title reign. It's fucking stupid. This was stupid.
Yeah, I even thought of another way you could do it. Have the match and have Neville run. Like, Tozawa's about to win, and Neville bounces, Yeah. And then you're like, oh, okay. Neville loses by count out, and then he comes back. He comes back the next week. He comes back on Sunday and then wins, and Tozawa's never the champion. It's like Tozawa literally has the most non-memorable title reign ever, and I felt like that did him an injustice. It did the title injustice.
Yeah, exactly. They're already treating this division like garbage because Vince McMahon doesn't know what to do with little guys. Despite the fact that collectively the 205 roster is some of the most talented people he has under his employment right now, he doesn't know what the fuck to do with them because he's got a hard on for giant guys and he can't see the possibilities of smaller dudes. Except Shawn Michaels.
Daniel Bryan was on a radio show this week, and he said the reason, and I absolutely agree with this statement, and I think you will once you say it, hear it. The reason the cruiserweight division is not catching on, in his opinion, is that basically people on the main roster, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, people like that, do the same moves that you see on the cruiserweight division. It's not like in WCW where the cruiserweight style was completely different than the main roster style. It's, you see AJ do a springboard for 450, which is probably more impressive than anything that anybody in the cruiserweight division does. Then you see Rich Swann, what he's been using, the Phoenix Splash, a move Seth Rollins uses regularly. It's like it's not doing enough to differentiate itself as a separate brand. And in a lot of things, he's like, he felt like that had a lot to do with it. And the fact that people know that the best cruiserweights in the world aren't in the cruiserweight division. Like, you have Ricochet, you have Will Ospreay, you have those people that aren't in the division.
Hell, Kota Ibushi was just in the G1 and is considered by many the MVP of the freaking G1. And he wasn't even in the finals, but every match he had was apparently, excellent. Yeah, you're right. But, also, if you think about it, back in the day, going back to those WCW years, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, all of these guys would have been in the Cruiserweight division.
Yeah, they would have been in the Cruiserweight division.
Because Cruiserweights were 225 and less. Hell, yeah. Shawn Michaels, let's be honest, Shawn Michaels was a Cruiserweight. He was slightly taller than some of these other guys, but because he was so good looking and Vince liked him for whatever reason and saw money with him, he was able to not get branded by being a teeny tiny guy. But yeah, it's ridiculous and it sucks for these guys. I mean, this whole division is just, it's so sad because there's so many guys in this division I really like. And I hate seeing them get ruined like this. I'm to the point where I'm like, and I've said it before. I'm like, just send them to NXT. Fuck it, man. Just send the whole lot to NXT. Let's let NXT have the chance at them. Let's build them up into something else, and let's move on because this shit ain't working.
Well, that's true. I can agree with that. What they're doing right now is not working. But I thought Daniel Bryan made a good point. My whole thing has all been my whole statement, is you're not giving them the Cruiserweight Classic matches.
Exactly. If
they were giving a lot more leeway in the Cruiserweight title matches as far as moves and as far as everything like that, and then they had a 20-minute time limit, and you just had them go, and every match was the most important thing in the world. And I think that's what we need from it. And it's like, with some of the gimmicks and stuff that they have going on, you only have an hour show. I don't think you should make it a sports entertainment show. I think you should make it a wrestling show. I think you should get very little. Into the Jack Gallagher, Brian Kendrick kind of ha-ha funny. I think it should be all about the wrestling.
Agreed. And they should also do that on Raw. Take the chains off, let these guys go out there, give them 15 minutes each night. Let's say you have two cruiserweight segments on Raw. I mean, it's a 3-hour show, for fuck's sake. You can give them a collective 30 to 40 minutes, and you let them have good long matches, and you let them just do their thing, and people will wake up and go, holy crap, Think about this. When John Cena was having his open challenge, and those weeks when when Cesaro kept coming out, and they were having week after week these just ridiculous 4.5, 4 3/4, 5-star matches, and the place was going ape shit because the matches were so good. If they let the chains off and let's say Cedric Alexander and Neville go out there and have a 15 to 20 minute match that was just let these two do what they can do, the place would go nuts. They would go nuts. They would totally get into it. And but no, they don't, because Vince is an old man that doesn't know shit anymore. But one
Your
thing,
favorite statement that you say like every week.
I know, right? I do. But it's one thing that, Vince, I have to give credit where credit is due, did do right. The SmackDown Live Tag Team Title match. The Usos. God, yeah.
It was either one or two.
It was the best match of the ones I saw, because there did get to a point where I tapped out. But this was awesome. These two teams are so good together. The Usos won, which was the right thing to do because they are on fire right now. Great freaking match. Though
it's weird, I heard a rumor later in the week about this match. This was an amazing match. Even live, everybody got up and they was like, well, everyone's going to have to step it up after that match because the match was so good. I heard a rumor that now that the New Day has got the record for the most record for the length of time as champion in one reign. Now that they want to give the New Day the most title wins in WWE history.
I heard that rumor too.
So over the next maybe year or two, you're probably going to see them drop and regain the belts a few times.
And so the record right now in WWE is 9 title reigns, if I'm not mistaken. That's held by the Dudleys.
Okay, because I don't remember how many Edge and Christian had. I knew it was a lot. So
I'm pretty sure it's 9, because when the Dudleys came in, they talked about it being 9, and there was all this thought maybe they'll get that 10th one, and I still think they should have gotten one final run with the belts, but that's not what they wanted for them. But yeah, it's going to take a few years unless they get the Charlotte treatment, and then in 6 months they'll be at 12. So let's hope not.
They have no desire. They have no desire to break up. So they will have time.
Yes.
See, Wiki has it at 8.
Oh, really? Okay. Now I'm wondering though.
7. Hold on, that's funny. Yeah, they have it at 8 and Edge and Christian at 7.
I'm wondering though if they're also counting. Now, is that just WWE title reigns? Because I think when WWE now counts the ECW title reigns as well.
No, because then it would be like at 20.
Okay.
They held the ECW belts like 10 times.
Okay, so it.
So Wikipedia is not the be all end all be all of everything. I think they counted. I think this is like WWF. Okay, so they don't have the WCW title reign they had in there, which would have made it 9.
And that was the post WWE buyout.
Yeah,
because the Dudleys were never in proper WCW.
That is correct. So okay. that would have been the 9th title reign.
Okay, so because they count those. It's weird how they decide what they count and what they don't. Just ask Ric Flair, who's actually a 21-time, not a 16-time world champion. But whatever. So yeah, this match was super fun. Yeah, the audience you guys were on your feet the whole time, and it was okay. So after this match is done, what was the sense in the crowd? Was there a sense like we just saw the best thing we're going to see all night? Strap in, we got 5 more hours to go, or was it more of a that was awesome? I hope they can. Let's see what does better.
Yeah, it was basically let's see what does better.
Okay. Well,
I mean that was the big overwhelming. Like if that was on the pre-show, what is going to be on the rest of it?
What a letdown! Damn. And then the show proper opened up with John I Don't Give Any Fucks Cena taking on Baron Corbin, My New Music Sucks. Okay, so Cena, I'm watching his entrance, and I'm just looking at him like, he doesn't care. He just looked like he had no care in the world. This guy was a jabron. He knew in 10 seconds he was going to beat him. He just looked like he did not care at all. And then Corbin eats one AA, game over.
Well, you know what? They looked at like Corbin. I don't know if you noticed this. They gave him new music and a new intro. Tell me that wasn't his world champion stuff.
Yeah.
That was his world champion stuff. And they pulled the world title from him. But they had him some world champion music. They had him a world champion intro. They were ready for him to be the lone wolf and the champion of the WWE. And he fucked it up.
So you think it's because he's a dick and he said stuff on Twitter he shouldn't have?
He said he goes off on Twitter. Like, if you got on Twitter right now and said, Baron Corbin, you're fat or you're not talented or whatever, he would respond. He cannot let it go. And he will tell you how rich he is and how you pay to come see him, and he goes off on those things. Stuff I ignore because whatever. I mean, he's Baron Corbin. I don't need the wrestlers I follow to be good people. And I've made that very clear. I've said that many times. And, like, so this stuff like this, if Baron Corbin to me was the best storyline you had, stick with it. Who cares if he's a dick?
Yeah, my who is it? Someone said online, I can't remember who, that comparing, like, Corbin's banter with, say, Kevin Owens, who does get into it with fans, but
Kevin Owens makes fun of the person. He will literally click on your profile, go find a picture that you look stupid in, and make fun of that. He never talks about how much money he makes. He never makes people feel like dollar signs. That is why I can follow Kevin Owens, and I commend him.
Yeah, and he is far more clever, and the comparison was that basically Corbin goes out saying things like, I will hunt you down, slit your throat, and fuck your wife or something. Something
Baron
like
Corbin
vicious like that.
Baron Corbin doesn't get vicious. He just basically makes people feel like dollar signs. Everything's about money. He doesn't care about wrestling, blah, blah, blah. Apparently that's the same thing that's gotten Enzo in trouble. Like, the people hear him on the phone talking about how easy wrestling is and basically disrespecting the business, saying how much money he makes and doesn't try very hard. So,
well, Enzo's whole thing was he was working out at the same gym that Triple H uses, and then some phone calls were made, and because the guy talks good, that's why he got a job. He was, in my understanding, he was not a wrestling fan, but we'll talk about him in a minute.
Yeah, DeFranco's gym, he got a tryout with the WWE, never working out. He was good on the mic. Yeah, Triple H looked at him and says, you know what, the kid has a look. So, and he does. Don't get me wrong. I do not have the problem with everyone that Enzo does, because to me, the Enzo Amoris of the world are what made the Bobby Heenans and the Paul Heymans and all that stuff. He's really good on the mic. I know the manager role has kind of went away in the WWE. It's starting to come back in a little bit. That's going to be his niche. He doesn't need to be... I mean, if he is the swarmy... And Steven sticking with his same look and everything, the swarmy type of manager that gets beat up in the end, that's his role. It's that they're trying to make him a wrestler. And he really doesn't care about wrestling.
Yeah, and that's also a frustrating thing, is you see these people like Corbin and you see people like Enzo, who are in WWE, the biggest platform for wrestling in the world, who don't care about it. And WWE has this tendency, they go after people who they think just have a look or think they can make stars and try to turn them into wrestlers. And then there are some of the best wrestlers in the world that on a nightly basis wrestle in front of 30 to 50 people. And it's just... I don't know.
It's the millennials. It's the millennial thing. I think truly by, starving, going out there and working the indies, wrestling in bingo halls and stuff, when you get to the WWE and you make it, you just appreciate it more. It's been a goal. And I think by taking that out, you're getting a lot more of the attitude issues that you wouldn't have got. You're getting the Enzos, you're getting the Baron Corbins, you're getting the Rusevs that, you know what? You don't know what it's like to struggle in wrestling. You've had the best facilities. You've had, nutrition. You've had concussion protocols. You haven't had to, you've worked hurt, but you haven't had to work injured,
Right.
So because you have to work injured, because that's the only way to pay your rent at the end of the month. Yeah. That's the only way that you're going to eat tonight is if you finish this match.
Yeah, we'll talk about Rusev in a minute.
But yeah, it's a whole different level of wrestling fan, and it's like I said, I have never taken a bump. I mean, as far as I'm just saying, I am not a wrestler in any way, so I can't talk about the pain that goes into wrestling. But I can say it just seems like AJ, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, the professionals, the people that struggled to get to WWE, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, they all appreciate it more. Yeah. You never hear about them having attitude problems.
Yeah, that is true. That is very, very true. Next up, we had Natalya challenging Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship, getting the win, her second title reign in WWE. So some people have theorized that Natty is getting this push and will be champion for basically as long as she wants in order to keep Tyson Kidd from suing the hell out of WWE.
See, I don't agree. I feel like this is the Lifetime Achievement Award for Natalya.
Bless you.
I truly do. She has trained most of, if not all, excuse me, of the wrestlers on the roster, right? She's been putting in hard work. She's on Divas. She does everything they ask him to do. If Tyson Kidd was going to sue him, I think he would have sued him already. To my whole situation, my whole thought process is this. Natalya deserved it, and that's why she got it.
Yeah.
I think she's I forgot what they use. She's just holding the belt until give it to Carmella. That's the goal.
Yeah, in some ways, I kind of feel like both her reign and Naomi's reign were kind of lifetime achievement. Like, you've been here for a long time, you've worked your ass off, we're going to give this to you now because we think you've earned it, kind of thing. But
Carmella is the one that they want to build a division around.
Right.
It's the top heel in the division.
Right. And really, Carmella cashing in on Natty, it's going to hurt Natty less than it would Naomi. Naomi going out, wrestling a hard match and losing to Natalya, the veteran of the division, that does not make her look as bad as if, she is James Ellsworth and hit with a case and then, eats a pin. Maybe. I'm probably putting too much thought into this, but we'll see how long Natty holds the title. So yeah, but I mean, good for her. Next up,
go ahead. The worst match on the card.
Yes. Big Show against Big Cass with Enzo in a shark cage.
So if you're going to use a shark cage, it has to play in the match.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
It has to seem significant. So the big use of the shark cage was for Enzo, who is in great shape, to basically get naked, sneak out of the cage, eat a boot, and Big Cass wins easily.
Yeah.
It literally served no purpose.
And the thing I think this shows is you almost have to compare this to the couple of matches Big Show had against Braun Strowman a while back and how really good those were. And then you compare that to this, and Cass is one of the other big men that they're really pushing and see a future with. And it's night and day difference, and you realize that, okay, Strowman is the real deal. This guy's really good. Big Cass is just tall and not that good.
See, I think I am not even close to giving up on Big Cass because he has been pushed and pushed and pushed as a part of a tag team where Enzo does all the talking. As far as in-ring promo time, he gets very little. You know, he has gotten very little time to work on his character as Big Cass. And I think, like Braun Strowman, who was green, you're just going to have to let Big Cass develop. You're going to have to let him get a feel for who he is as a character. It's just really, really rough because he's learning in front of everybody on the biggest stage possible. That's why he looks extra bad.
See, his character stuff doesn't bother me as much as his in-ring. I mean, his in-ring was... he's never been that great. He's serviceable. But you look at Strowman, and granted, at first, Strowman wasn't that great either. And so you're probably right. Let's give the guy time. But how long was Cass down in developmental versus how long was Strowman?
Yeah, but he was down in developmental as Enzo's buddy. You know, Enzo did all the talking.
Well, there was that 6 to 9 month period where Enzo was out with a broken something or another, and Cass was on his own, and he actually improved a lot. Yeah. And then when they got back together, he digressed. And
I feel like when he was, you know, Big Cass on his own, I feel like out of like his 6 promos that they really gave him time, I felt like 2 were really good. And then I felt like 4 really fell flat. And that's like, to me, as you're trying to get your feet under you, it's not that bad. I'm not Big Cass. I met him. He was really nice. But I'm just saying, I feel like it's a New Day type of situation. It was just like when the New Day first started, their gimmick came off very, very racist. And it took about 6 months before they found their groove.
True. That is true. And
I mean, I hated the New Day. When they came on TV, I literally turned the channel because I could not stand the New Day. And then they found their groove, and it got a little funnier and a little better every week, and now I'm a huge New Day fan.
You know what's funny about that is you think about when the New Day first got together, Xavier came out dressed up, and they were almost going to be this like militant Black Panthers like angry group. And there was kind of a buzz about that, and people were like, "Oh man, this is going to be kind of cool." And then they were doing that on house shows, but it kind of quietly went away because there was some. I think that was right around the time that thing in Missouri happened, and there was all the racial. There were some riots and some bad shit happened, and so WWE probably smartly said, "Okay, let's wait on this." And then they came out, as they did, and you're like, "What the fuck?" But it worked out.
That basically the whole Black New Nation was never their idea. That Vince took their idea and said, "Hey, let's do the New Nation thing," and then they were like, "No, I don't really like that." So they came back with the church thing, and it was close to what they wanted, but not quite. Vince still was like, "Okay, do this, do this, do this," and it wasn't working. Then they did what he said, and he's like, "Okay, this isn't working," and they kind of took the reins off of him, and it started working better. This is straight from Xavier Woods on like his on many interviews that he's given. It was just like they backed up, and they played their hand. They did what they were supposed to do, let it not work, and it's like, okay, well, the way you want to do it doesn't work. Well, let us do it our way.
And that is something to say when you're dealing with a boss who comes at you with something stupid. Sometimes you just do what they say, and when it falls flat on its face like it should, and it doesn't work, all you have to do is look at him and go, "I did what you said. Sorry."
Yeah, in WWE, a lot of getting character development, and people will hate, and you might even cringe when I say this, it's catchphrases, right? It's a lot. Austin 316, laying the smackdown, I am the game, everybody that was big names back in the day had a catchphrase, right? Now you looking at the wrestlers now, there's no real memorable catchphrases. But guess who does have that down? New Day is the catchphrase king. It's like sing along with the New Day when they're out there.
Yep. You know, and I remember the moment when it really started to click for the New Day. It was a Mania after Raw after Mania, and Xavier was on the corner and he was banging the mat in that familiar beat that we now know, and the crowd started chanting "New Day sucks" along to it. And he kept doing it. I remember JBL said at one point, he's like, "Why does he keep doing that? The crowd just keeps chanting." And he would get this, Xavier would get this exasperated look on his face of disgust. He'd just scream, "Why?" And to me, it was like, okay, that's the moment. That was where it clicked. And it started to work.
I think it was like the Rock's birthday or some celebration, and it was the New Day in the ring with the Rock, and I felt like that's when they got over.
I thought that was a couple months later. That's when, yeah.
And to me, that was when they went from being the New Day to the New Day. That's when the chants from New Day sucks changed to New Day rocks.
Right, but I'm talking when it went from crickets and go away heat to, okay, we're having fun booing these guys, was that Raw after Mania. And that to me, that's when they started to get over. And then everyone had too much fun and they had to start cheering them. So enough digression about that. Let's move on to something else that sucked. Randy Orton and Rusev.
I actually, man, I have a dissenting opinion on this. I thought this was amazing.
Explain.
No one cared about this match. They could have come out and put on Okada versus Omega match, and nobody would have cared. Hey, get this match out of the way. Boom, 10 seconds, done. Everybody cheered. Everybody popped. I don't know if you saw the crowd. Everybody wanted it to end that way. Nobody wanted to sit through that match.
That is true. Now, you don't think, though, that
it was a rush feud that no one cared about, that they did in 3 weeks, with Randy saying I accept, Rusev attacking him, Randy getting the RKO back. It was like a rush feud that no one cared about.
Yeah, because sadly, no one really cares about either of these guys right now.
So Rusev attacks him before the match. He looks strong. Randy catches him with the RKO out of nowhere, which, you know, as far as the casual fan, that's what they wanted to see.
True.
That's what's the internet memes. That was it. Hit him with an RKO out of nowhere. That match actually popped about as loud as any match because nobody wanted to see it.
Okay, well, that's a good way of looking at it. Now, though, do you think that Rusev is done?
I don't think Rusev is done. I think they're using this to build up Rusev. Rusev's a WWE guy. He's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be the guy starving trying to make it. I don't. He has a woman to keep up with named Lana. I think they're building up for something really well with him. I think they're building to something with him. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm wrong quite often, but I think this is building to something.
Because there have been rumors that they both asked for their release.
I don't think Lana did.
Okay,
that wouldn't make any sense.
No, for her, no. I mean, she has she has is her looks. She has no talent, so she needs to ride this wave as long as possible.
They pushed her as the top of the Total Divas. It was the Bellas and her. They pushed her as one of the main characters on Total Divas.
But
because of Rusev's there, he's the main character on Total Divas.
So do you think if Rusev left, would he go down? Because you have two choices when you're a post WWE person. You can choose. You can go down the road of Cody Rhodes, Drew Galloway, and those types, and have a very good post WWE indie career, or you can become Ryback, Jack Swagger, and Damian Sandow, and end up not doing shit. Which do you think he would be?
I don't know, and I don't think Jack Swagger can start working the big events until like now. I think his 3 months just went up.
Okay.
So he's had to work a lot of small events. But Jack Swagger is going to get over in Japan like crazy because he's like 6'8" and he's American. That's what they push.
Yeah, that's and I hadn't thought about his 90 days. So okay, I'll take Jack Swagger off of that.
So
but,
he couldn't wrestle for any major promotion like that. And Dutch Mantel is in TNA or GFW, and that's one of his closest people in his life. So I would not be shocked if he doesn't make that appearance. If he doesn't make that appearance by the end of the year, he just has to wait before he can show up on TV for anybody else.
Now, see, because I could see Rusev doing really well in New Japan.
I don't think Rusev would do well in New Japan because there's a bunch of Twitter things where he basically hates on indie wrestling.
Oh, okay. I didn't base it on that. I was basing it on watching him work in the ring and seeing the possibility of thinking of him in there with Ishii, him in there with Michael Elgin. You could have some great matches.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Rusev is, I think they're really building something for his character. He doesn't have a bad attitude. He gets along with everybody. He's not being punished. It's just when you have wrestling, sometimes you just don't have anything for anyone right then.
Good way. Okay.
So you have this huge roster. Sometimes I just don't have a storyline for you. Look at Sami Zayn right now. He's kind of faded to the back in SmackDown. He wasn't even on this card at all.
Yeah, Charlotte wasn't even on this card.
Nobody's mad at Sami Zayn.
That's another thing that's interesting about this card is they're an obnoxious number of matches. It was stupid long, and yet the number of people who weren't on here was staggering.
Yeah, Maria and Mike, they brought them in. They've done nothing with them. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, not on the card. It was you look at how many people on the card and how many people they have. It was crazy. This was not booked well.
No, not at all. And, what do you think of those? Speaking of Mike and Maria, do you think there have been some rumors floating around that WWE has not been happy with them, or at least not happy with Mike? Do you think there's any validity to that? Because, they came in and then they've disappeared.
I haven't heard anything. To me, I like when Enzo and who am I thinking of? Corbin. You get specifics. Mike is one of those situations. I have to go back. I was wrong. You were right. He would have dealt better with a little time in NXT.
Yeah. Even though he's worked on TV, he's still
your gimmick that they introduced him with was horrible.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
Yes, but if he goes back to NXT, he joins up with Adam Cole and the other two, and they do like a WWE version of the Kingdom with Maria, and then you keep them there for a while, and then they re-debut on the main roster. There you go.
That would be good. He needed, and there are very few people, I think, that can come in and immediately show up on Raw or SmackDown and get over. AJ Styles is one of the few. I think Gallows and Anderson, when they showed up initially, they were over, and then they screwed the pooch on that.
Because, their biggest problem is everybody, when you see Gallows and Anderson, you want them with AJ or you want them with Finn. You want the club. The fact that you're not getting the club is frustrating.
Yes.
It's like, you're not doing anything with them. Why aren't they with AJ? You're not doing anything with them. Why aren't they with Finn?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
All right, so next up we had the Raw Women's Championship, Sasha Banks challenging Alexa Bliss. The thing that jumped out to me more than anything else with this, they had Bayley doing a little backstage interview before. My God, that woman got booed. Holy crap. I'm almost like, can we send her back to NXT? Because at least Full Sail likes her. She needs to go to. Something needs to change. She needs to go to SmackDown. She needs to just. I mean, she's injured. She needs to be off TV for like 6 months to a year. Get her the fuck out of here.
I understand they're booing how she's being booked, not booing her. That's from like the people I talk to in the crowd. They're booing how she's being booked.
Yeah, but is Vince gonna get that? Honestly, if he hasn't understood that with Roman Reigns, is he really gonna understand that with Bayley?
Probably not. But what other options do wrestling fans have?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, we boo and we cheer. That's all we have. Because we can get on the internet and bitch. Anything we put on the internet, everybody's just going to sum up to internet people bitching.
Yeah, true. I did think Alexa got a nice pop when she came out.
She did. She was super over, and I thought her losing the belt, nothing to do with Sasha. Sasha's, great in the ring. Don't get me wrong. People booed the crap out of Sasha, too, and I was like, why are they booing the crap out of Sasha? I found out it was just the Boston, New York thing. She represents Boston, like, super hard. So, and it was in New York, so they hate her for being from Boston.
Okay.
So, but this situation was, she was so over, you needed a pop during the show, and Alexa Bliss winning during that show would have popped crazy, and then, have Sasha either win it on Monday or the next Monday or whatever, which is fine, but I just think at SummerSlam, Alexa Bliss should have walked away with the title.
And what's the point of taking the title off of her? She's had a good run. Why? I mean, I don't understand.
I mean, you know what? Sasha seems like the bigger ego of the women's division. I might be completely wrong, and don't get me wrong. It's just the rumors I hear and stuff. She has the biggest. It seemed like she might have the biggest ego. Like Charlotte and Becky, they don't mind not being the champions. They just want to put on a great match. I think being the champion and, being a Hall of Famer and being the boss actually matters to Sasha Banks. So she's, it seems like she would be always politicking for the title. Again, I might be wrong. I mean, I may very well be wrong because this is just a feeling that it comes off based on her social media and just her kind of attitude that she wants the belt.
And she also needs to be politicking for a heel turn. Cause,
and I think that's what they're about to do. I think she's going to turn heel as the champion on Bayley.
Good. Next up, we had Bray Wyatt taking on the Demon King, if we didn't already know, Finn Balor. I will say I loved the addition of he's got the whole world in his hands, and the little Bray laughing into Finn's entrance music. I thought that was a cool touch.
Yeah, and he came out, and of course the crowd shook, and it's the best entrance in wrestling when it's the demon entrance.
Oh yeah, that entrance is ridiculous.
It's not even close to me. And he did his demon thing, and you know what? He turns it up a notch when he's the demon. To me, he's so much more charismatic, and he does more moves when he's the demon. And then when he goes back to being regular Finn, I just want to go to sleep. But that did change on Raw. I thought he really did a good job of keeping the same intensity of not being in the paint.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, he did get the win. So Bray Wyatt ate another pin because that's what Bray does. We then had Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins challenging Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team titles. Dean and Seth got the win. Pretty good match. Cesaro.
Pretty good match. If we hadn't seen the SmackDown tag match, this would have been like, oh my God, that match was amazing. But the SmackDown tag match just kind of blew everything out the water. So any other tag match that was going to be on the night wasn't going to be as good. True.
And Cesaro destroying a beach ball.
Yeah. That popped pretty much louder than anything that night. And it's funny because the beach ball was popping. It was like, and everybody was cheering the beach ball. But when he popped it, everybody cheered again, which to me seems like I don't really understand.
Yeah.
So here, as someone who goes to lots of wrestling events, and you've been at all the big type shows, what are your thoughts on the crowd busting out beach balls or doing the wave, things like this during matches?
It's the only way they have to show dissatisfaction.
Do you think? I mean, was this the right match to do that in? Because this was, from what I remember, a pretty good match.
No, it wasn't the right match to do it in. But when you want to show that you're bored, it's the best way to do it. I don't ever participate in the wave. The beach ball thing to me, it was cool for WrestleMania. It got the gimmick, the beach ball mania. Now it's lame now, but it's one of those things that's really easy to get in because they scan you and they check you for metal. So you could just have a beach ball in your pocket and it won't go off.
Yeah, you just have to blow it up when you get there.
Yeah, you just blow it up when you get there. But apparently they're confiscating them now. Like I said, I feel like it's the wrong time. What Cesaro did was appropriate, and it was a very cool moment. But it's just like the problem is by doing that, all people are going to try to do is bring beach balls in from now on because they want the wrestler to come out and pop it.
Yeah. So, and not everyone has Cesaro's strength because pound for pound, he's probably the strongest wrestler on the roster. That guy's just a beast. But yeah, do you think? So, what do you think's next for Cesaro and Sheamus?
Winning the titles back.
How long do you think Dean and Seth are going to hold them?
Unless they do the Roman thing, I'd say maybe 2 months. I think maybe the next pay-per-view, just depend on how it gets over.
But people like them together, and they are. You know what? In a way, maybe they should just stay together because they have both been pretty hit and miss as far as single stars. But you get those two together, especially if you can get them back with Roman. Though the sum is better than the total of their parts. I think of those three guys.
I hate both of their finishers, but they worked together.
Yes, agreed. Oh yeah, the
spinning knee until the DDT, it works together. But both of those suck as individual finishers.
Agreed. All right, and then we had Kevin Owens challenging AJ Styles for the U.S. title match with Shane McMahon as the ref. Everyone gave Shane shit through the match as far as the wrestlers go. AJ retains. What was the crowd like during this one?
Everybody was interested. We hated that Shane had anything to do with it because you got two of the best wrestlers on the roster. When everybody lists their top 5 favorite wrestlers, AJ and Styles and Kevin Owens are somewhere in there, right? So you just want AJ and Kevin just to put on a show. You just want them to put on that 5-star match and make it matter. And you have Shane there, and you're telling the story with Shane, and I felt like it took away from the match. But it does keep KO from, taking a clean loss.
It's so weird that you would think you put Kevin Owens and AJ Styles in a match together. You're like, oh my God, this is going to be incredible.
They don't have a lot of chemistry.
No, they don't. It's so weird that two of the best wrestlers in the world, you get them in the ring, and it's just meh. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not fantastic, and it's so weird. Yeah, I don't. I guess some people just don't have good chemistry together, and I think that's the case with these two. So you think this feud is over, or what happened?
Yeah, it's over. I think we're going to go into the AJ Styles doing the open challenge thing, which is going to lead to a feud with Baron Corbin, and I think Kevin Owens is about to feud with Shane McMahon.
Cool. Okay, we can do that. And I like AJ Styles doing the open challenge. I think that's a great idea. Then we had the WWE title match, Jinder Mahal defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. So did Brooklyn like Shinsuke? I got the feeling they did.
Oh my God. Brooklyn loves Shinsuke so much. I thought there were going to be some, when the result happened the way it happened, I thought people were going to cry when Jinder won. And I was the one person. Apparently, I was in the same section as Glee and Steve, and I guess there were some people being really, really racist about Jinder Mahal, like go back to India, blah, 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 that kind of crap, even though he's Canadian and he lives in Houston. But yeah, they were doing the really racist stuff. So, of course, they were rooting for Jinder, but just because people went racist. Me personally, Shinsuke Nakamura, I would pay money not to hear him promo.
Yeah, he's...
So, if he wins the title, you know what I would have to hear?
Him cutting promos?
Yeah. So, I was rooting for Jinder Mahal like my life depended on it.
I just... I love that the... Jinder needs a new finishing move because he botched his finish. And I'm going to have to try to find... There's this... I thought I saw a picture of it when he grabbed Shinsuke in the clutch thing. The look on Shinsuke's face is just priceless. And hopefully I can find that picture somewhere. But yeah, that was a match.
Yeah, it was a match. I mean, Jinder Mahal, I don't mind his finisher. I think his in-ring style needs to adjust because he doesn't have one. It's like he just puts together a bunch of random moves.
He's not very good in the ring. I mean...
See, I consider him very average, very consistent. You know what you're going to get out, but you're never going to get a 5-star match from him. You know, it's always going to be consistent. He very rarely botches.
I mean, he didn't really do that roll-up too well the other day on Old Baron, and you know, he certainly messed up his finisher in this one. He didn't get it on, and that's the problem with his finisher. It's cumbersome, so it's not real easy to slap it on somebody, especially, oh, hey, a distraction, I got to hit you, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I was going to say, the way he has to hit it every time.
Right. The Singh Brothers just did something great, and the Singh Brothers are the best thing about the Jinder Mahal act. Those guys are bumping like crazy. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, I haven't turned on Jinder in any way, but I think his in-ring style it's really sluggish and boring.
Well, I don't think he can move very well. Because he's so bulked up, I just don't think he has a whole ton of mobility. How much longer do you think they're going to keep this belt on him?
I don't know, but I do think Shinsuke's the next champion, though.
Yeah, I mean... And this was a match that I got to... This was the point when really fed upness and exhaustion had set in, and I was like double time speed, fast forwarding, and this was just... It was like, okay, Jinder, who's not that great, and Nakamura phoning it in. Could we have a worse combination for a main event, semi-main event match? Because Nakamura can phone it in like a sumbitch. And it's never a good thing when he does that, because you can just always tell. Damn it, WWE.com doesn't have that great picture. Man, am I going to have to go take that myself? Though I will say, man, he did hit one Kinshasa on the back of Jinder's head that looked pretty wicked. So yeah, and then we had the main event, the 4-way.
Which was arguably the best match, maybe the second best match of the night.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of highlights of this, and yeah, I need to go back and rewatch it because.
Yeah, I watched it twice since Sunday.
Oh wow!
It was just so hard hitting. It was just so hard hitting. I think Samoa Joe, unfortunately, came out looking the worst because he didn't get a lot of offense in, But good Lord, the Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar just looks like money. I mean, those two standing together, here's my money. I will pay $49.99 right now to see those monsters going against each other.
Hey, though at least Joe didn't eat the pin.
At least he didn't eat the pin. Roman ate the pin, and
And more, my opinion of Roman Reigns is changing because, God, that dude can work. God, that dude can sell. God, that dude can do everything right when it comes to wrestling. His character sucks. So I don't hate Roman Reigns. I am going away from that booing Roman Reigns because Roman or Joe Anoa'i, there's nothing wrong with him. He does everything the way you're supposed to do it. His character and the way he booked is so bad, it made me hate him personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm really every spot he does is on. He doesn't botch anything. He takes the beatings. You know what I'm saying? He took the pin in this match. It's not like he's this, like John Cena probably didn't take this as many pins as Roman has taken this year. John Cena probably didn't take in his whole 10-year run.
Yeah, no, Roman, I've always thought Roman is a good to very good worker, depending on who he's in there with.
And I'm starting to turn the corner on, like, I'm not going to boo this man, because he's doing nothing but what he's told to do.
And I think in the long run that will hopefully happen for him, or that's what I should say, I hope. His booking has been so bad. But you're right, Strowman, because I did see the Strowman power slam through the table, and then he throw the other table on top of Lesnar. That's pretty awesome. So Strowman's great, and anyone that makes Brock Lesnar look up, that's impressive.
Man, I want to see Strowman. I think I did see that Strowman next to the mountain, and there wasn't too much. I mean, as far as the muscles, of course, were bigger because he's definitely a bodybuilder type. But Strowman was not very much smaller than that man, and it's just like that dude is just huge on a whole nother level, and it looks like his confidence is starting to build up. You can see it on Instagram and Twitter. His confidence has come up. He knows he's the deal. Hulk Hogan says Braun Strowman's the next him, which, again, most people have to realize that's a fucking compliment from Hulk Hogan.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I might not take it as much because I think Braun Strowman is way better in the ring than Hulk Hogan. But coming from Hulk Hogan still thinks he can carry the WWE right now.
Yeah, he's delusional. So.
But Braun Strowman is something that you've never seen before. I think he's kind of like Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, all rolled into one. And for me, that's a compliment because he has the charisma and that look at me type of look that Hulk Hogan has. He has the legitimate badass vibe that Brock Lesnar has, and he can move. And he can do things a big man shouldn't do in the way that The Undertaker does.
Yeah, good call.
So, I mean, his promo skills, good Lord, you don't need to say anything when you're that big. And his voice is still like, he has this deep, demanding, commanding your attention voice. He doesn't have to go out there and say catchphrases. I mean, you know what? His face, his image, his whole everything he is his catchphrase. He is the monster among men.
Except one thing though, he what is it? I'm not finished with you yet. That could become a catchphrase for him.
That could become a catchphrase.
That should be on a T-shirt.
And the most important thing: do not make him face ever. Do not make him heel. Just make him a person that doesn't like anybody.
Exactly. He just needs to go out and F people up.
Yeah.
And just be his own. He needs to truly be the lone wolf, just by himself doing his own thing. And if he and say at the Royal Rumble, if he and Baron Corbin have a stare down, please God let him just destroy Corbin. I want to see him destroy Corbin. I want to see him destroy Cass. I want to see him just destroy most people. And then probably eat a pin from Finn Balor. But, hey.
Yeah, because Corbin eliminated Braun at the Royal Rumble, didn't he?
I think so. So that needs to, if they want to do some, good full circle storytelling this year at the Rumble, Braun needs to eliminate Corbin.
But Baron is really talented. I mean, we're having a resurgence of the big man. Baron is really talented. Braun is really talented. Hopefully, after this time away for Cass, he can come back. Maybe they redefine his character a little bit. Also use this time to, kind of cut up, maybe get your nutrition right, look more like a badass, you know what I'm saying? I think he can use the time to better himself.
Yeah, and see, I would disagree that Corbin is really talented. I think Corbin is average at best. He does a couple of things really well. He did that slide he does out of the ring. Deep six is cool, and I like his finisher. Beyond that, I mean, and he has a presence.
You want from a big man.
At this point, a lot.
See, I enjoy his promos. I know some people don't like the way he talks. I do, because if you don't like the way he talks to the point where you hate him, he's doing his job.
See, I don't like his voice, and I don't think a lot of the things he says seem natural. It's like, okay, if we just, like the way he was in the that behind-the-scenes show they had about NXT, if he was like that on promos, but that could be said about a lot of people. They write some awful scripts for these people, and they don't sound like human beings when they talk. There are very few people that can go out there and just do it. Samoa Joe is one of the guys. When he cuts a promo, he sounds like a regular dude talking. Like, this is how he talks in the real world. Kevin Owens, same thing. So it's, you get Corbin, and he's just given these awful lines, and bless his heart, and yes, I do that mean in the kind of sarcastic way, he has such an awful voice. And I know that's not his fault. It's just what he was born with, but maybe he needs some vocal lessons or something. There's just something. He opens his mouth, and it's like, oh, I know you would kill me in real life, but I just have a hard time taking you seriously because you sound like a child.
Yeah, my thing with Baron Corbin is just let him talk the way he talks on Twitter, doing his promos. He would get automatic heat.
That is true.
Because he doesn't like people. He doesn't like wrestling. I mean, he doesn't. Wrestling is not super important to him. He's there to make money, and he's there to make people pay to see him. I guarantee you, if you build him like that, you build him in that idea, he will get over as a heel because people will pay good money to see him get beat up.
True. Well, that was SummerSlam 2017. Overall, what do you give the show?
I gave the show a solid C.
Sounds reasonable. The
Usos match and the main event were just amazing. Then the Raw Tag Team match was really good. Everything else was underwhelmed.
One last question. So you remember when you talked about Mania being way too long and just being exhausting, feeling like a day at work? How about this show?
It wasn't actually that bad, and it actually ended on time. The thing with Mania is that it was a 4-hour show, and then it went over an hour and a half. This was a 4-hour show, and it ended at 3 hours and 55 minutes.
There you go. It says something about being punctual.
No, it wasn't. It was just that. It was just, like I said, it wasn't. The thing was, after the Hardys came out, you had seen the Hardys, you had seen AJ, you had seen Kevin Owens. The rest of the matches on the card were the matches nobody wanted to see. They didn't do a good job of mixing the matches at WrestleMania.
True that. All right, well, any other final thoughts on the SummerSlam before we move on?
They got to do better. If SummerSlam is supposed to be the WrestleMania of the summer, you got to have a celebrity to me. You got to have some type of celebrity in there to me. You have to have a big storyline that you set up at SummerSlam, a la that Adam Cole type situation. I think the WWE is missing a dominant faction right now. I've said that for a while. So hopefully people start listening
and realize what I mean. It really is missing a dominant faction right now.
Yeah, agreed. So, I did not see any wrestling this week because I was just done and busy, and so quick highlights, Raw.
All right, so quick highlights, and I'm going to just kind of go through the week fairly quickly. So Raw, the highlights of Raw. Big Cass and Enzo. Big Cass goes for his boot that he misses and goes out the ring. He's done it 100 times. Unfortunately, this time he tore his ACL, so he's out for 9 months.
Oh, that sucks.
All right. So we start the show with Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. Braun Strowman, him and Brock start fighting. Braun Strowman picks him up, power slams him. Picks him up again, power slams him, and completely dominates him and obliterates him, and then leaves the ring. So Braun Strowman, then they announce Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar at No Mercy.
So you think Braun's going to win?
That was a powerful opening. I keep thinking Brock Lesnar's going to win. You know? I mean, I keep thinking he's going to lose. So we're like at his third defense in a row where I thought he was going to lose. So, no, I don't think he's going to lose.
There you go.
I think they're truly going to make you think he's going to lose all the way to WrestleMania.
Will that hurt Strowman?
Depends on how he loses.
Yeah, I think if it's a situation kind of like the main event of SummerSlam, if he just barely escapes and has that look on his face like, oh shit, I just barely survived this at the end of the match, then Strowman loses nothing.
Yeah, so it depends. I want Strowman to be the champion, but once you put the title on Strowman, who beats him? Who competes with him? You know, it's kind of hard to go. It's kind of painting yourself in the corner once you put Strowman in the title. You pretty much saying Strowman's going to main event WrestleMania. Because not a lot of other people make sense beating Strowman.
True.
That's why I was like, they were talking about the superstar shakeup. I don't want AJ Styles anywhere near Raw. Because Raw has become the land of giants.
Yeah, no, AJ Styles needs to stay far away from Raw as humanly possible.
Yeah. So, Nia Jax versus Emma, blah, blah. Elias versus R-Truth, blah, blah. Okay. This is where we actually got good. So, John Cena is announced as he's coming over to Raw. He comes out to his normal booing. And he says, there's a person I want to meet face to face. Boom, Roman Reigns' music hits out. So we got John Cena, Roman Reigns, face to face. Boom, the Miz's music plays. I came to win. And he goes in and he cuts a scathing promo about him, how he's the MVP of the show, and they had their MVP on the bench because he would love to know what it was like to perform in front of a packed Barclays crowd, but no one was there when he was wrestling. And he goes into it and he cuts deep into all of them. He even cuts it on the fans. He says, you can't decide if you want to boo or cheer him. You can't decide if you want to boo or cheer him. Do you think it hurts him? Do you think it hurts him? No, it only hurts me. It hurts people that show up every night and do what they're supposed to do because they're giving all the attention to the... It was pretty much he stopped just short. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, okay, you got this much leeway. There's 100%, there's 80%. They let him go 80%.
Wow.
So, and John Cena's like, so he asked, hey Barclays, let's take a little survey. Does Raw need John Cena? And all of them went, no. And John Cena starts walking off. He's like, well, I know I'm not wanted. I'm a man of the people, and they don't want me, so I'm leaving. And then Miz pulls him aside, and he cuts some more promo on him. And at the end, John Cena, like, you want your moment? I got your moment. How about you and you pick one of your guys and they go against me and Roman Reigns, my partner Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns did a great job of looking at him like, I don't want to tag with you. I don't even know. It was a great way to, like, the face Roman Reigns pulled off. Like,
I don't like you.
And Roman Reigns makes great faces.
Yeah, so
he makes some outstanding face, and I can just see him, the look on his face, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I want to tag with you. So that happened, and then Samoa Joe comes out and just starts laying into John Cena. Just like he comes out and starts punching John Cena. And so it ends up being The Miz and Samoa Joe versus John Cena, Roman Reigns at the end of the show. And there was this funny interaction where The Miz was like, hey, if you just, I usually have to chase people around to join the Miz Taraj. Maybe, you seem to just taking it by the horn. So Joe says, shut up. He's like, this is how it's going to work. He's like, those two are going to cause a distraction on the outside of the ring, and you're going to do that unorthodox, annoying thing that you do, and that's how it's going to go. Cool? And everybody like, yeah, because, if they don't, Samoa Joe would kill them. So it was pretty cool interaction. You had a 8-man cruiserweight match, which it just harkens back to the days of women wrestling where they just threw everybody on a match just so everybody can be seen. That's what it did. Then you had a great tag team match. You had Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus the Hardy Boys. I thought they worked really, really well together. Seth and Dean got the win with their combination move. Like I said, I cannot tell you how much better that is. That spinning knee into the DDT, it looks cool. But like I said, both their finishes suck on their own. Alexa Bliss comes out, tells Sasha, I'm getting my rematch next week, so apparently that's going to end their feud. Rematch next week, and she says Sasha Banks is going to be like the boss loser. It was funny how she said it was weird. And a surprisingly great match, and it came out of nowhere. Finn Balor wrestled Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan asked Kurt Angle to fight Finn Balor, and Finn Balor, you could tell, he turned up the intensity on this match. Maybe it was because it was Jason Jordan, and they put on a really good show. Finn Balor got the win with the coup de grace. It was funny because they built it where Jason was about to hit his finisher, and then Finn Balor reversed it, kicked him into the corner, and did his coup de grace. So it made it really close, like Jason Jordan almost had the match won. So they're doing a pretty good job with Jason Jordan right then.
Well, that's good.
And then the main event, of course, John Cena and Roman Reigns win. If you didn't see that coming,
who ate the pin?
Shit, honestly, the Miz ate a attitude. I don't even remember. I honestly wasn't paying attention to the match because I knew who was going to win. I was hoping at the end it ended with the Miz, Samoa Joe, and the whole Miz Taraj like jumping them and ending up on top. But it was in Barclays. They wanted the John Cena Roman Reigns pop. Whatever. John Cena apparently stayed after the show. Talked about Beach Ball Mania and said it's fun and all that kind of stuff and kissed up to the crowd or something. I don't know. I was literally on the road. So I was on the road. If anyone you didn't know, I drove 25 hours from Oklahoma to New York or Brooklyn, and I drove it back. And out of the whole 50 hours there, the scariest part was driving in Brooklyn. Oh my God, those people are crazy.
Well, I mean, yeah, driving in New York it's such a New York City is such a public transit area that I don't know, man. New York City, just the whole idea kind of scares me.
It scared me, and you know what? I feel like it was awesome in the way that I had the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I drove in Brooklyn. I drove in New York. I didn't get in a wreck. By the end of the week, I was driving like a New Yorker. The thing is, you can never go faster than like 30, but everybody accelerates to that 30 as quickly as possible. They go like 0 to 3, and it's like, so it's almost like you're driving 60 because they're accelerating so hard.
So I do have to ask this. At any point in your drive there, was No Sleep Till Brooklyn played?
We played it right at the end. Right when the guy I was with played No Sleep Through Brooklyn when we were on the turnpike heading into New York.
Okay, that's perfect. That is just too fitting. Okay.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
had
there
to
was
ask.
plenty of sleep to Brooklyn because when you're in a car 25 hours, you have no choice but to sleep.
All right, so that was Raw. What about SmackDown? Any good highlights from that?
SmackDown, honestly, I'm trying to think of anything that stuck out. Oh, we had the glorious debut.
Yes, I did see highlights of that, and that
Yeah.
was kind of out of nowhere.
And he debuted as a face. And apparently he's kind of going to take John Cena's spot.
You know, it's funny. Because I saw a part of that promo. Was he a face because his music is so over, or was he really? Because he seemed to be facing it up a little bit.
Y'all know he was a face, and the way he wrestled the match was a face. He didn't do any heel maneuvers or anything like that. And he wrestled against the heel, Aiden English.
And I have a feeling had he stayed in NXT much longer, he would have ended up becoming a face. He was cheered like a face most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, Aiden English is kind of becoming SmackDown's gatekeeper. You need someone to come in and do a pretty decent match, but have no problems eating a pin. Aiden English is a perfect guy.
He's the Kurt Hawkins of SmackDown. He never wins.
He never does. But so I've also heard rumors that this superstar shakeup is about the only shaking up is Bobby Roode going to SmackDown and John Cena going to Raw.
Shelton Benjamin returned to SmackDown, to the WWE.
That's true. That too.
He is Chad Gable's new tag team partner. And I don't know if they're going to do it because it looks like they're going to play Chad Gable being the annoying partner to Shelton Benjamin, almost like what he was with Jason Jordan in NXT. So I don't know if they're going to do it to make Shelton Benjamin turn on Chad Gable and then that set him up, or are they going to just use Shelton Benjamin because he's a little older? That's less wear and tear on his body if he's working tag team matches.
Is he still whipping out the towel that says Gable on it?
He did not
Oh,
that time.
that needs to come back, man. The Ready, Willing, and Gable needs to come back. That got him over.
And then, KO and AJ, one more match. This time, if KO loses, he gets to pick the referee, and if he loses, he doesn't get a title shot as long as Styles is the champion, which is great because I feel like if he was to lose, that it almost sets him up to having to go into the main event picture, to try to go after the WWE title again because he can't go after the U.S. belt. But again, you have a lot of things you can do at this point because Bobby Roode needs somebody to fight. Sami Zayn, you got Mike Kanellis and Maria's situation. You got a lot of things you can do as far as getting different matchups in there.
I almost think that with this shakeup, if they do any more, I think you have Kevin Owens lose the U.S. title, and I almost think he needs to go back to Raw. I think he was a better fit on Raw. And I just don't know, because the last thing in the world I want to see is him and Sami Zayn have another feud right now. I do eventually want to see them have a feud, but I want to see that a WrestleMania main event for the WWE title feud thing. So other than that, I don't want to see those two have a match. It's weird. Something has felt off with him on SmackDown. Whereas AJ feels like SmackDown is perfect for him. It's his home. Really, Owens seemed a better fit for Raw, I thought. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I don't have a problem with it either way. I think Owens needs to be away from Sami Zayn. Because I think if him and Sami Zayn are on the show, you are holding your breath until they wrestle again.
Exactly. So that's another reason why they need to be apart.
Yeah. And then we had the Usos versus the Hype Bros. Usos did their thing and won. Shinsuke Nakamura did a squash match against the Singh brothers. I'm just kind of trying to skimming through because nothing really happened. Naomi and Becky beat Natalya and Carmella. And basically Carmella told Natalya her time only lasts as long as Carmella wants her time to last. And she came out with this new gear like this one piece, and it had like it had a money sign on it, like Miss Money in the Bank. I think it looked really generic, but hey, generally when that kind of stuff happens, it look horrible. The seamstress team in the WWE, they spice it up again a little before next week. Dolph Ziggler, he came back cutting a promo. He came back too, so they basically got 3 comebacks on SmackDown. Dolph Ziggler comes back and says he's going to do what stars do next week, and he made a lot of references that he was going to glow and he was going to have a crazy entrance, and he's like, maybe I should play guitar and sing because that's what people do. It was just funny because he was just making fun of everybody that was over right now.
Awesome.
And to me, that's what they have to let him do to me. His comedy is funny. And I think if they can somehow let the comedic side of Dolph Ziggler as a heel come out on SmackDown, I think that would make him interesting again. Because he's pretty cutting when he's up there on stage. Then we had AJ and Kevin. Baron Corbin was counting the 3 in the match. Shane McMahon comes down to the ring. After letting Kevin Owens pick the ref and say, oh, you're not the ref anymore, I'm the ref. And then, of course, AJ Styles picks up the win after Kevin Owens has the win. It's all setting up for Kevin Owens to beat up Shane McMahon next week.
All right. Well, there we go. And so
that was SmackDown, and it was NXT. I'm skimming because it was just all the stuff that happened, the pre-takeover matches. So you had the Lars Sullivan attack No Way Jose.
Real quick, that's the guy who I remember seeing pictures of this guy with this ginormous hand. It's that guy.
Yeah. So they had him beat up No Way Jose. Peyton and Billy, they were in a match against someone, and they won. And it was just really nothing. It was like a holdover until next week, because next week's episode is like going to be the Adam Cole debut episode. But the biggest news of the week, this is what we're going to cover right now. The biggest news in the WWE of the week at NXT tapings this week. And this is on WWE.com. So this is in no way a spoiler. It's been tweeted. It's been Instagrammed by the WWE. So I'm not going to... I purposely avoid spoilers on NXT because I like to enjoy it week to week. So this is not a spoiler. Asuka relinquished her NXT title.
Yeah. So she got hurt, right? She
Yes,
separated her shoulder?
She separated her shoulder, and she was going to be out 8 weeks. Of course, she could have been out 8 weeks, and they did it, but Vince McMahon's been trying to get her up on the main roster for a while now. They took this as the opportunity. It's what I wanted. She relinquished the title. She never lost in NXT, and she's going to go to better opportunities, so she's going to debut on Raw or SmackDown. Triple H gave her flowers. There was this big send-off. But yeah, her shoulder separated, and it truly can say, when it came to NXT, no one was ready for Asuka.
Man, I'm looking forward to seeing that when that airs. That's going to be cool.
So that was the awesome part. She wiped any record Page had out of the water. So it's all about Asuka. Everyone seems to think that it's the new title champion is going to be Kairi Sane. I personally think, and most people don't like to think about race and all that stuff, but having 2 Japanese champions in a row, I think that would be a little much.
I can see that. I can see that concern. It also is kind of sad that we think about things like that, because we
live in.
True, but would it bother you if let's say Cedric Alexander was down in NXT, he was the NXT champion, and then let's say he was beaten by another black wrestler who became the NXT champion? Would that be an issue? You've got white guy 1 beating white guy 2 all the time.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an issue with me because they both can speak English and promo. I've had to deal with basically over a year of the NXT Women's Champion not being able to do a promo.
Does Kairi Sane, I don't know how good her English is.
I don't know, but I assume it's like all the rest of the Japanese people, not very good.
Damn. To quote Don Tony.
Hey, huh?
I said, to quote Don Tony, I don't speak Japanese.
So all I'm saying is, you pick a Japanese wrestler in the WWE that can promo or talk somewhat passable English, I will take my statement back.
There you go. Well, I still think what they need to do is they need to set up a tournament with the NXT women, and the winner of that tournament faces the winner of the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, and you know what? That might have happened. I like I said, I avoid NXT spoilers. NXT is my favorite show of the week, so I know they tape like 3 to 6 weeks in advance. I accept what WWE spoils, and I really don't have a chance to miss. I miss it on purpose, so they might have done it. So I don't know.
Have you watched? Speaking of, have you had a chance to watch any of the Mae Young Classic yet?
It doesn't. It come on until tomorrow night.
That's right. It was the bracketology.
First four episodes released tomorrow night after Raw.
I'll have to. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm really curious. And I'm with you. NXT is by far my favorite show. And I don't know if we do. Are we going to do our top 5 we talked about earlier, or are we going to go off on that?
Let's do the top 5 we talked about earlier because it's pretty easy for me.
Okay, we'll get to that here in a little bit. Now, you also wanted to talk some GFW.
Yes, I watched Global Force Wrestling. This week, they had a gauntlet for the gold. They stripped out Alberto Del Rio of the championship. When they stripped him of the championship, Bruce Richard came out and said he was going to give the title to Bobby Lashley. Jim Cornette, the new face of Anthem, comes out and basically yells at him and then fires him, takes the belt away and says, they do got a new belt. They do have it. The belt is completely different now.
Good.
They got the new GFW Global Championship, and it was going to be defended in a gauntlet for the gold. So this week, I felt like it was a good episode of Global Force Wrestling. Good. I said that in a while. They introduced a new tag team, Ohio versus everyone, OVE, Ohio versus everyone, and their tag team. It looks like they're in the realm of the Young Bucks. They do a lot of kicks and stuff, and they ended up winning the match. They had their comedic view. Grado came and said he was getting deported. Laurel Van Ness, who has been doing a crazy kind of jilted bride kind of gimmick. She had paint all over her face. She came out. She was all dressed up looking hot, which Laurel Van Ness, very, very attractive woman. And her and Grado are engaged. And then the guy that was with her, Congo Kong, is now in a feud with the big Indian dude. I forgot his name. I know him and Jinder work out together and are friends, but I always forget his name. His last name is Ali on the show. But to get to the main part, the thing that actually matters, they actually gave them 45 minutes in the gauntlet for the gold, which is kind of mixed between Royal Rumble and gauntlet match. So we go through it, and we had the debut of Johnny Impact, which is Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro, John Hennigan. He debuted in the gauntlet for the gold. The first two people in the ring were Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake. And at the end, the last two people in were Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake. My particular stream broke, so I don't know how he got the pin, but your winner and new Global Force champion is, for the first time in a very long time, a Global Force original, Eli Drake, the namer of dummies. I am a fan of what he does on the mic. In the ring, I think he's pretty good, but I've always been a fan of what he does on the mic. Now, let me tell you about this guy. What's impressive about Eli Drake and why I am somewhat proud of him. He was an indie wrestler for 15 years.
Wow.
Right? As Sean Rickard. And no one knew who he was. Right? He was barely a blip on anybody's radar. The Rock did a reality show on TNT. I forgot what the reality show was called. Sean Ricker was on that reality show, and he had this like magnetism about him. I was all about him. I was like, how is this guy not signed anywhere, right? So after the show, he was actually the first person eliminated from the show, right? And then he parlayed that into a WWE developmental deal, right? He was in developmental about 1 to 2 years, and then they released him. He debuted in TNA as Eli Drake, a member of a member of a group or Team TNA with Drew Galloway as the leader, and Tonga Roja from the brothers. What are they called?
Girls of Destiny.
Tonga Roja. They were all in a group, and the group actually laid pretty flat. And Eli turned on Drew Galloway, and basically he was started from the bottom, and he's got his gimmick over with the dummy thing, and it feels like, I think he's probably like 17 to 20 years in the industry now, and he is the Impact Global Champion. I give him all credit, because a lot of people would have gave up a long time ago.
That's cool.
And he really stuck to it. He's the Global Choice Champion. He's the best person in the mic on, and he's the best person on the mic on the roster. Him and Chris Masters have like a tag team, they're just kind of a mini faction type thing, and Jim Cornette hates him, so I'm thinking they're going to do that gimmick where Jim Cornette just wants Eli Drake not to be the champion anymore. And I honestly watched Global Force Wrestling, and I was planning on tweeting this today. I gave them a shot because they were doing a new champion, and Jim Cornette was on TV. And I have been a Jim Cornette fan my whole life. If Jim Cornette's on TV, I'm watching the show. So you will probably get Global Force reports from now on, because if Jim Cornette's on the show, I'm reporting.
Very cool. Yeah, well, it's good. I'm hoping to get back into the swing of watching Ring of Honor again. So that's my plan, is to every week have NXT and Ring of Honor down. Even if I don't get the other two, I want to be able to talk about those. So if we do that, I think we'll add some more goodness for the fine folks that watch or listen.
And I was honest. Global Force just wasn't worth watching and reporting on. They've made some key changes. Alberto El Patron is boring. Like, boring. So the fact that they got a person that can work the mic as their champion, the grand champion is EC3 right now. The tag team champions is LAX. Great thing about them all, they are all Global Force originals. They are not WWE washouts, to a point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, Derek Bateman, ASK, EC3 never made the main roster. Eli Drake, I forgot what his name was with WWE. He never really made the roster. They have all made, the people that are holding their belts made their name with Impact Wrestling.
So is the Grand Championship still doing those weird rules?
With the rounds, yes.
I really wish that would go away.
I think it is, because people like it.
Huh. Okay. Well, if it works, and if it works for them, then great.
It's different. It's a different set of rules. I think the ultimate goal is to put the title on Moose. I think that's who they're gonna, really put the company behind, because basically he chose Impact over the WWE. He had a contract from the WWE, and he chose Impact.
See, that's not exactly the way I heard that went down.
That's not exactly the way I heard it went down either. But when it was like Bleacher Report and ESPN reports that he chose that over WWE, I'm gonna go with it, because I'm pretty sure I just took it that they checked their sources. Because what I understood, I thought he had signed with the WWE and they pulled the contract because he had a domestic violence accusation in his past.
Right. That's what I'd always heard too. Because they had offered him something, and then it was basically on the table, and then that thing with Jerry Lawler and Adam Rose happened, and they pulled it, even though that thing with Moose happened years and years and years ago.
And he was never convicted or anything.
Right.
So it's just crazy. It was just they were sensitive at the time. Maybe they were like, hey, just wait a few months and we'll sign you then. I don't know. But how it's being reported is that he turned down WWE.
Well, that's cool then. I mean, that's good for him, and I like it when people in wrestling can go out there and have successful careers, do well for themselves outside of WWE.
And you know, his best friend is Moose and Tozawa. I mean, not Moose, Tozawa and Apollo Crews. So to say Moose is never going to be in the WWE is an over-exaggeration. He'll be there eventually, but the fact is he can make his name and in Impact become a household name, and then when he goes to WWE, there's a chance he'll be able to keep his name, and you know he'll be able to call a few more shots.
Oh yeah, I could see him a very good chance of him keeping his name, and hopefully keeping his music, because that music is awesome.
And he owns his music. That's a big thing with him, is that he does own his own music.
So maybe he lets CFOs do a remix of it, and there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so we've
that was Global Force.
That was.
I think that was it as far as the Global Force rattling.
So here, I didn't watch it, but apparently AAA did their big Triple Mania event last night, and they put it up on Twitch for free. Do you think that's going to be, we're going to see more indies doing things like putting stuff up on Twitch? Because I know YouTube, with the way they do their ad revenue stuff, is making it really hard for indies to use. Just look at what happened to What Culture. But could you see other organizations heading to things like Twitch to do streaming and to try to get more eyeballs on their products?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, because that's what you have to do. You know, you have to use whatever options you have to get your name out there. A lot of people just, you know, they don't watch a certain organization because, you know, they've never heard of it. You know, and you put your big show out on there, you know, because a lot of them don't make any money from any streaming. They make it from, you know, the in audience type of the live gate. So them allowing people that are not in their area to watch it for free, I mean, it doesn't really hurt them at all.
Agree. I think it's a great idea. I hope it worked out well. I haven't seen any reports about anything that happened last night, because AAA's had issues with streaming in the past, like Ring of Honor used to have back in the day. But I think a lot of these services, they need to, or a lot of these organizations need to start using things like Twitch if they're not going to have their own kind of streaming service, a la Progress, WWE Network, New Japan World, all that stuff. And you know, I'm also kind of surprised. Like High Spots has put together a streaming service. You know, WWN has their streaming service, or at least had it until FlowSlam came in and kind of took them over. In a way, I'm surprised a number of the more prominent indies haven't gotten together and said, "Hey, let's work together. Let's do a streaming service. We can have our big live events on here, our pay-per-views, and put our back catalogs on, and it would be a good service to offer people." I'm sure the money it takes to start something up like that is enormous, because the bandwidth and everything you're going to have, and the storage space and servers and a whole bunch of other technical crap I don't understand. It can't be cheap. But one would think that it would be easier now, say, to do that than, 3-4 years ago when the WWE Network was starting up, or certainly a lot easier than when Netflix first started.
I was going to say, and the thing is, Disney, ESPN hasn't even got their crap down because their stream sucks. I just wanted to throw that out there because I was trying to watch a couple games yesterday and I couldn't watch it.
There you go.
Their stream sucks.
Well, this is segues, somewhat roughly, but works out well enough for our top 5 this week. It's our top 5 current promotions, and it's interesting. With the streaming thing, there's one promotion on my list is one that I barely ever get to watch, but what I see of it is enough to know that I really like it. So I'm sure I'm going to sound like a goof when I mention it, but we'll get there. Do you have any honorable mentions?
No honorable mentions. Give me just a second.
Okay.
Because like I said, I'm kind of just going off of the top of my head really quick. And WWE NXT, how are we doing that?
I'm treating NXT like a separate promotion.
Okay.
I'm not going so far as to treating Raw and SmackDown as separate promotions, but I am treating NXT as a separate promotion because it has its own brand name. It does function like its own separate entity. And as much as SmackDown and Raw feel like different shows, they don't feel like different companies. But NXT feels like a different company.
All right. Let's see. Well, I do have an honorable mention. I'm going to give an honorable mention to one that is not televised. It is our local company, Imperial Wrestling Revolution. Every time I go to their shows, I really have a good time. Oaklamania last year, they did. I have that on. They did have that on. What was it called? What was the streaming site? It's the one that's an app. I can't remember what it's called. They had it on there. They had their show on Oaklamania on that site, and it was really good. I did want to announce that this week I get the VIP tickets for Oaklamania. So next week we're going to announce a contest to win 2 free VIP tickets and 2 tickets to OaklaCon. So it'll be in the package. You'll get 2 VIP tickets to Oaklamania and 2 tickets to OaklaCon.
What? That is awesome, and you can only get that here on Around the Ring.
Yeah, Around the Ring.
So make sure real quick to keep up with that because we're gonna post it all over the place. You need to follow us and like us on Twitter and Facebook. So head over to facebook.com/AroundTheRingOK and Twitter @AroundTheRingOK. Give us likes and follows there. That way you can stay up with the contest information, giveaway, whatever we're gonna do with it.
Yeah, because I was saying we haven't even decided what the details of the giveaway. It was just I want to give the gift of wrestling to someone. You'll be sitting next to us, the host of Around the Ring. So hopefully get it out there. Get everyone out there. I know not everyone can afford VIP tickets, so this is a chance to be able to do that and meet some wrestlers and hang with us for a while.
It's going to be awesome. My honorable mention is also the Imperial Wrestling Revolution, IWR, great local promotion with some really, really good local talent. When I saw them live at the Rose Rock Music Festival this year, I remember just thinking to myself, man, there are a number of these guys I could see going on to working in bigger promotions and eventually someday in WWE because there's some good talent in that group. So, yay. And Oaklamania, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so who do you have at number 5?
Number 5, I tried to stick with the 5 organizations I watched. So by default, number 5 is... Oh, wow. I just thought about something. They got bumped. So, but number 5, Ring of Honor.
All right.
It was Global Force, but then I realized I watched Ring of Honor. So Ring of Honor is number 5.
So my number 5 is PWG. And this is my kind of cheat, because otherwise I've got 4. And I do watch a lot of PWG on YouTube, and everything I watch of theirs I freaking love. And it's one of those promotions, it's like, God, can't you guys have a streaming service? Can't you put your shit up somewhere where I can see it, because I want to see more. It's like every time I see something from PWG, I'm like, damn it, I want to see more of this. And, if I was ever someone with bucket list things, seeing PWG live is something that I think would be amazing to do.
Where are they based out of?
Somewhere in California. Los Angeles. It's, my God, they play the same shitty-ass building every time, and it sells out in like 3 seconds. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But I mean, it's like you go to a PWG show, there's a good chance you're going to see Ronda Rousey. There's a good chance you're going to run into Max Landis. There's, who knows how many WWE people are there. William Regal's to it a lot to scout talent. So yeah, I can't believe I forgot where it. That's bad. I'm brain farting, but yep. So
All
that's
right.
my number 5. What do you have for number 4?
Progress. I am a subscriber to the Progress channel. I am catching up. I think I'm on like chapter 15. I honestly just watch it when I'm at work, so I'm nowhere near caught up on it. But everything I've seen a lot of Alistair Buck. I've seen the debut of what is it? I forgot his name. So I've seen a lot of people that make up the UK division now started in Progress, and I really enjoy shows. I love me some British strong style, and I love that it's wrestling for adults. They're not afraid to cuss, fight, drink alcohol, all those kind of things. I truly wish WWE did like a Netflix exclusive show where it was a more adult oriented. Just one of the shows. Maybe make a separate brand that is for adults.
Good call. My number 4 is WWE.
I am not shocked by that at all.
What you have at number 3?
Number 3, I got New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
I love New Japan. I love the in-ring work. It does remind me a lot of 80s wrestling. They do a good job of promoting the Bullet Club, which is good. They've made Bullet Club a worldwide brand. They can't even keep their shirts at Hot Topic, so they've done a good job with that. I do think the production value can be better. That's why they're at 3.
Man, did you ever see that video that Adam Cole posted of him in Hot Topic, someone handing him a Young Bucks shirt, them going no, and he holds up a Revival shirt, and he smiles and he nods his head yes.
Ah, that's funny.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, and one of the Jacksons responded saying, "If you weren't already dead to me, this would make me angry," or something. It was hilarious. Yeah. My number 3 is Ring of Honor.
Okay, all right. Yeah, they were already on my list, so yeah. I could definitely see them being on your list. Pretty much every WWE star that is anything that wasn't WWE created made a stop through Ring of Honor.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of, this is the thing I think Adam Cole should do at some point during a promo, and because they've gotten to the point in NXT, they're not afraid to mention Ring of Honor by name. He should say, I was the only 3, they should just start running down their accolades, and so Red Dragon, mention all the championships they've gotten, Kyle O'Reilly, the championships he's gotten, Bobby Fish, and then when it comes to Adam Cole, say, I'm the only 3-time Ring of Honor champion. You know who didn't do that? Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins. Run down all the names of people in WWE who've been Ring of Honor champion. Say, I did something none of them ever did. And now I'm going to do something here that none of them could ever do.
Baby.
And that would be so cool.
I think I have no doubt that Triple H is going to let him go off a little bit. I don't know if he's going to drop Ring of Honor by name, but I know Morrow doesn't have a problem dropping it by name.
Yeah, Morrow gives no fucks. Morrow just does his thing. So
he's like, he's big on you can't ignore that this stuff happened. It happened.
Yes, exactly, and that's the way to be, man.
Yeah.
Then all right. So number 2,
NXT. It's my favorite program to watch, but I am a loyalist. I am 100% loyal, and there's only 3 letters that I have tattooed on me, so you'll know who my number 1 is. But NXT, completely ran and produced by Triple H. Pretty much how he does it, it's him and a writer. And they come up with the storylines, and then they go out and shoot them. And it's more like the WWF was in the 80s. Back then, it was Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson. Now it's Triple H. And whoever the head writer is at the time, they did lose a few of the writers to Raw and SmackDown, so I actually don't know the name. It's wrestling. It is, to me, it's the perfect blend of New Japan and WWE. WWE production, New Japan work rate.
I can see that, yeah. My number 2 is New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think it is, as far as in-ring, there is probably nothing in the world that beat. It has, at least two of the best wrestlers in the world today, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, who is probably going to be the 2017 Wrestler of the Year, because no one has had a year like this man has had. And it's excellent. I cannot say enough good things about it. And number 1, I wonder, is that WCW? Oh wait, this is current promotions.
No. The 3 letters I had tattooed on me are WWF, and they are better known now by WWE. It is my favorite brand. It frustrates me. It's love. I mean, it hurts me, but WWE is my wife. Nobody's ever going to go above it in my life. I am completely loyal. They can keep putting on stinkers, and I'll. It's for better or for worse when it comes to WWE. I cannot even watch. I mean, I could say I cannot even watch the product and still love it. But who knows? Because I've never not watched the product. So every day, all day, WWE for life, WrestleMania for life. I got this big 4 that I'm knocking out after Survivor Series. This has been this year as a wrestling fan I've had. I'm just hoping the storylines catch up. The happiest time of my life was the time between about 97 and 2002, where wrestling was really, really out front and mainstream, and you could talk about wrestling with anybody. And I missed that time, and I hope that happens. I know social media has a lot to do with it and blah, 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 but I just want it to become a thing again.
Very nice. My number 1 is NXT. I think NXT takes the best thing about the independents and gives it great production value. It's simple. It's to the point. There's no BS really. It is just a bunch of, for the most part, great workers, or if not, a bunch of great workers with some people who are coming up and learning. Triple H has done something really cool, which he has taken a developmental promotion and made it a super indie / developmental promotion. So it is this place where you get all the best independent wrestlers in the world to come in, and then you bring up these homegrown people and you have them work with these veterans, and it's the best of both worlds. It is really, really good. And if you are a professional wrestling fan and you're not watching NXT, unless you just have a hatred of everything WWE, and then I can kind of forgive that or understand it. But even then, you should have NXT, or at least the takeovers, because I think you will be pleasantly surprised by how much fun you have. Takeover Brooklyn this year was one of the most entertaining things I have seen in a very long time as far as wrestling is concerned. I had so much fun watching it, and I can't wait for the next takeover. And I'm really looking forward to the tapings that happened this last week, seeing those episodes and seeing the fallout from Takeover and all new faces, and to see what's happening. So I love me some NXT.
I can't blame you. I mean, it's a great product, like I said. But NXT is the kid of the WWE, and like I said, the WWE, that's my everything. That's my life. I would love to say any other company has ever. I mean, the only other company that has come close is WCW, and I honestly say early '90s I was probably WCW 1 and WWF 2.
And for me, I was always a WCW guy. I mean, WWF is what I first really saw, but once I saw, and it was Crockett Promotions on TBS Saturday mornings and Saturday evenings, the Nature Boy and all that. Once I saw that, I liked WWE. I still kind of followed it, but I loved NWA and then WCW. So yeah, I've always been a WCW guy, and being with my personality and kind of being not a huge fan of ginormous corporations in general, I like that's what kind of angers me with WWE is their stupid corporateness and corporate speak, and nonsense they have this talent doing, and the fact that they, shoot themselves in the foot by not letting these folks go out and just do their thing. But that's me, and I watch a lot of WWE, and I do when it's not a week like I've had recently, and I've been busy out of my mind. But there are times I watch it and it makes me wonder, why the fuck do I watch this? Why? Because they do some stupid shit. And the frustrating thing with WWE is they have never had a better roster. As far as in-ring talent, they have never, ever, I think, had a roster, with possibly the exception of the early 2000s, right after Eddie and Benoit and all those guys came over. That was the closest they have as far as in-ring talent to now. But their in-ring talent now is ridiculous, and the show is just, they're hurting themselves, and that's what frustrates me as a fan.
I completely agree. I don't doubt that WWE is frustrating. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it that every week, they have a really good show, and I'm like, why can't you do this why can't you challenge us every week? Why can't you challenge us and change our storylines? Why can't you make it not predictable? Why can't you go away from the traditional, we got to get this guy over, we got to get behind this guy, we have to have a face of the company type thing? I wish they could go against that, because to me, as much as Okada is the face of New Japan, Kenny Omega is the face of New Japan. Because Naito is the face of New Japan, because you have those fans. Los Innobles de Japón, the face of New Japan. They do such a good job of keeping everybody on such an even level that is what I like about New Japan, and I wish WWE would do a good job, because John's being the face of the WWE, that's great. And Roman Reigns, hey, that's the guy we want to be the next guy, that's great. They don't have to win every time. They don't have to win 80% of the time. They can, you can treat it like it's a real sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, treat it like it's a competitive sport. Because it's very much real. It's just not, treat it like it's a competitive sport. Where, you know what? John Cena has an off night. Roman Reigns has an off night. No, these people have off nights. It's not, against. It's like, what is it? Okada doesn't match well against Fale. Fale's beat him like twice in the last 2 years. And that's how they do it, is that, Fale is a bad matchup for Okada. Why can't you be like that in the WWE?
Yeah, exactly. Or I was thinking Omega lost to Juice Robinson in the G1. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, what the hell just happened? So, they need to do more stuff like that. Agreed.
Yeah, like there's jobbers. There's not a lot of jobbers. Yoshitatsu is a jobber. There's not a lot of jobbers in New Japan, but they do a good job of making everybody look strong, and there's nothing wrong with that, because I know a lot of people that are diehard Dolph Ziggler fans that have just kind of turned on him because he loses so much. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I think that's it. You got anything else before we get out of here?
I do not. Yes. As I've stated, Survivor Series is about to be number 4 for me in the 4 for 4. I am actually going to be doing a picture kind of video package with some music to it, and it's going to be on the Around the Ring YouTube page after Survivor Series. I'm starting on it now. Just kind of giving you a little heads up of what you'll be seeing. We're going to try to get a little bit more content on the YouTube page, and just for more people can see us and get out there. And like I said, we're about to do the giveaway. Hopefully you can tell your friends to listen, watch. We'll try to post it everywhere where everyone can see it. Again, we do the show out of love. No, we don't make a dime from it. My girlfriend hates that I spend 3 hours every week talking about wrestling. So just understand, this comes from nothing but 2 people that love wrestling.
Exactly. Despite what, as my grumpiness sometimes often sounds, I do love it. I have 3 passions in my life, and this is one of them. So there you go. Well, that's going to do it for us. Again, don't forget to find us all on the social medias. We're handle at Around the Ring OK pretty much everywhere. And Floyd, take us home, buddy.
All right. Again, I got it right the last 2 weeks, so I might not end up having to do this this lead-in anymore because I might have it down, might have my own catchphrase down. But just remember, life that is a work. Don't forget to kick out at 2. We'll see you next time around the ring. Get well, Nate.
What about Rocky Marciano?
Oh, there they go. There they go. Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. That's the one. That's the one. Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano. Let me tell you something wonderful. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't shit.
He beat Joe Louis's ass.
That's right. He did whoop Joe Louis' ass. Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought. I don't know how old he was, but he got his ass whooped. Joe Louis had come out of retirement to fight Rocky Marciano. The man was 76 years old. Joe Louis always lied about his age. He lied about his age all the time. One time, Frank Sinatra comes out here and sat down in this chair. And I said, Frank, you hang out with Joe Louis. Just between me and you, how old is Joe Louis? You know what Frank told me? He said, hey, Joe Louis is 137 years old. 137 years old.
Oh, man, you ain't never meet no Frank Sinatra.
Fuck you! Fuck you and fuck you! Who's next?
Hear the drummer get wicked.